Hello, welcome to the data channel. Today, as part of this video, we will discuss one of the latest concept called Toon and how exactly this is different from the JSON file format. And so if you're feeding JSON into LLMs, so you're probably wasting money because now we have the format called Toon. So not because your model is bad, but because your format that the file format that we are using is not suitable in terms of consumption, making it consumable for the LLMs from the cost perspective, right? So JSON is full of noise when you consider the formatting of the JSON. So it might be quotes, it might be commas, braces, and your model charges like token wise. So every single token or every single character that you're using in the string or in the data, so you are definitely the LLM is charging you for that, right? Whenever you send a request to the LLM, whenever you get back the response, so every time it is all the calculation in terms of the cost is always done from the token perspective. So in one data set, I have tested around 12,000 rows. The JSON version took almost the double tokens compared to the new format called Toon. So here is the craziest part. So Toon looks like a hackathon scramble. But it actually is leaner, token efficient, data type built specifically for like LLM prompts. So it might be listing the fields once, list the row count, then just write the data like a compact table. So no repeated keys, no punctuation overload, so no token blot. Toon, is it replaceable for a JSON? So absolutely not. So if not for API, not for storage, it is not for complex nested data sets. But for large tables with repetitive objects, analytical logs, Tool can literally cut the cost of the prompts, LLM prompts into half. So in this video, we will break down the things like what Toon this really is and why it beats JSON when it comes to LLMs and when you start and when you should use this and when you should not use it. And we will see like quick comparisons with taking certain examples. Before proceeding, if you're new to this channel, we would recommend you to please subscribe and also press bell button for instant notifications. So let's get started. So now exactly we will see what Toon actually is, right? So Toon stands for token oriented object notification, like similar like JSON. So where it was JavaScript object notation, right? So similarly, like Toon is we are by the name itself we can understand it is specifically meant or it is specifically created for the purpose of LLMs. So that's why it is named as a token oriented object notation. And this is a new data format designed specifically for one thing, that is to reduce the token usage when sending structured data to the large language models. So think of Toon as a JSON's minimalistic cousin. So it keeps the data, keeps the structure, and keeps the meaning still, but remove all the token heavy punctuations that LLM don't actually need, because LLMs basically doesn't care about the much of the formatting, right? So they need the data in a specific way they can parse. So with that purpose of LLM, so this is specifically designed, right? And that is where it is called as you can see, like token oriented object notification, right? Object notation. So and so if you see like at a high level, what it does is you have a JSON file and you can encode and convert it to Toon and then feed that to LLMs. And net you are saving around 30 to 60% of a cost that you are spending for the LLMs, right? And why that is happening is so because you are removing all the unwanted the structure or the schema, like the structure or the characters that is not necessary for the LLMs really. So I mean, like you can directly feed the JSON data to LLMs. There is nothing harm in doing it, but only from the cost perspective. So it is not even the speed or not even the performance, or you're not trying to optimize any performance here. So Toon specifically, it is kind of a built or designed to save the cost part of it where LLMs are being used. Okay. And so if you take an example, right? So as you can see the example here, so this is how the typical JSON file looks like. So it will be having a braces, and you can have nested JSON, you can have flat JSON, right? But LLMs are like here the data is having the braces, right? So there is a brace, there is a double quotes, there is a semicolon, right? So all this is actually counted when you're talking about the LLMs, because in LLMs each characters is considered for tokenizing and it will be charged for that. So whether it might be array, you might be using an array or it might be just using nested JSON. So everything has a characters, like everything has a notation to denote that. So that is actually making the LLMs heavy in terms of cost perspective. So this problem basically YAML is trying to solve with solve by having a fewer token, but still Toon is going extra mile here to kind of combining the YAML like indentation with CSV like style and making it like tabular array, right? So it is little different here. Like as you can see, so what it is trying to make is it's trying to remove all the like additional characters or the braces, etc. here. So you are just having the context as a parent, as a root, right? And from that root, basically you are seeing the nested part of it. Like there is a in the inside context, there is a task, location, and season, right? So task, location, season, and then you have friends. So friends, as you can see, there is a array. So for the array notification, to notify it as an array, so it is having denoting a length, so that it is telling that it is a length of 3 and it is an array. And similarly, you have hikes. So here hikes, it is telling it is an array of 3 elements, and each of these 3 elements is having these columns or the like name of the columns, and then you are giving specifying the data for that. So basically, by doing this formatting, it is saving a lot of tokens, right? And so that is where you see the so you're not here, you're not wasting any tokens. So you are specifying the name, row count, a list of fields, then the actual data line by line. So it's basically like sending the model a tiny table instead of the full decorated object, right? And the reason why this matters is simple. So like LLM thinks tokens in think of from the perspective of tokens, not characters. So when you remove the quotes, braces, colons, and repeated keys, so you are basically removing hundreds and thousands of tokens from your prompt. And Toon was built around the exact idea, so minimizing the token footprints while keeping the structure intact. And also Toon supports nested objects, lists, optional fields, back and forth conversion with JSON. So you can, as you can like convert from JSON to Toon and Toon to JSON, because still the data might be in JSON, but you're trying to play around and switch between these. And even strict formatting rules documented in like official specs. So like you can play around all of these options in Toon. So flexibility wise, you can do anything here, right? But when it comes to the key features, so one is definitely it is built for the token efficient and accurate usage of it, and it is mathematically proven that it can reach till 74 levels of accuracy versus JSON's 70% while using 40% of the token in a mixed structure. And it also helps in encoding it encodes the same object arrays and the primitives as JSON while with the deterministic losses and round trips. So one important thing here is, as you can see here, it is mentioning 3, right? So this also help LLMs for guardrail. That means what level the data is. It without passing the data, it will LLM can straightforward look into this metadata kind of thing, and it can easily identify whether it is required or not required, or what exactly it can do with this level of nested and what are the number of arrays, the elements in the arrays, etc. So that helps in guardrailing certain use cases. And definitely it is minimalistic in size, and it is having the format of YAML and CSV mixed. And it does the tabular arrays format, and it supports multi-language, TypeScript, Python, Go, Rust, etc. Because ultimately you can do a trade-off between JSON and Toon. So you can convert JSON to Toon and Toon to JSON anytime, as I was mentioning. So there is no problem in passing this Toon data sets or the Toon data. Basically, Toon is leaner, cleaner alternative JSON when your main consumer is LLM but not the API, right? So it removes the repetition, reduces the distraction, and dramatically cut down the token usage. And so that's what the tool really is, a format designed not for machines actually, but for the models we are now building on top of them. Right? You are not trying to save any memory, you're not trying to make faster LLM decision making here, but you are trying to make the model more cost effective in that sense, right? And quickly, I want to share experience on like why this Toon is beats JSON for LLMs, right? Definitely, JSON was designed for systems, not for models, right? So codes around every key, commas between fields, curly braces. So all this to a human, this structure looks clean, but for LLM perspective, so every single one of these is a token, and token is nothing but it is the number of tokens is equal to the number of cost that you are having. So now multiply those keys around the thousands of rows. So you're paying a massive tax on something that model doesn't even need to understand that data, right? So that is where the token removes. That is where the JSON is actually beaten by Toon format of a data. So when it comes to LLMs, and it is not just about the characters, right? It is also about the even the repetitive informations, like if you take the ID, name, distance, kilometer, right? So you are specifying multiple times here. But if you take the tune format, so it's specifying once, and you are reusing you're reusing the same format for rest of the data. So that itself is saving a lot of huge volume of data. So that ultimately you're saying around 50 to 40 to 50% of fewer token on an average on the last data sets, which means the lower cost and faster response also ultimately you're getting on a and longer prompts also. And LLMs don't need JSON punctuation to infer the structure. So that is the whole reason. So it doesn't matter for LLMs. And in fact, it is making LLMs like work much easier here, because these braces brackets is not a matter of concern for the LLMs. So then there are certain cases where you should not use Toon because Toon is not meant for those use cases, right? So JSON is still a preferred format when you are talking about the data exchange, you are having APIs or storage or interoperability, right? So in that cases, Toon is definitely not the best use cases. And so where you have the pure tabular data, where you have a CSV kind of data, there is no need of having the Toon there. So Toon specifically it is meant for wherever the LLM is token efficient, structure preserving, easy to read and easy to generate. So specifically for the use LLM use cases, so we should be using Toon. So in any other cases where LLM is not involved, so make sure that you are not unnecessarily using Toon. And here there are certain benchmarks, if you see really see, right, like they have taken multiple scenarios, and the accuracy of the model when you're using tool, like accuracy per token, so is definitely higher for the tool, and also the cost perspective. So that's like different models it's been taken, Cloud Age, Gemini, ChatGPT, Grok, right? So different models have been performed. Like Toon is definitely outperforming in all of the models. So definitely that shows the implication of using or the advantage of using Toon instead of JSON. So I will paste this. I will put this link in the description, the GitHub link, repository link in the description. You can go through this. There's a lot of information in this, so you can even go through in detail what exactly how the comparison is made, right, and how to kind of try it out in your local system. Like if you quickly see here, right, so you can really see the JSON format, like how the JSON format looks like, right? So this is a JSON format, and this is also JSON format, which is more formatted in the left hand side, but here it is like new line character or written carriage is not there. But when it comes to AML, it is little more simplified, right? But even in some cases, AML also doesn't help, because you can see 70 instead of 77 tokens, you're taking 50 tokens. But when it compared to the JSON, it's still taking more. But when it comes to Toon, you are just instead of 50, you're taking 32. But imagine if you are using nested JSONs or the lot of data, it exponentially reduces a lot of tokens basically. So let's take a quick example here, right? So if you take smaller JSON here, how much it is saving is, so it's like a token, 24 tokens it has taken, but JSON has taken 59, right? So let's try to take a bigger JSON now, right? So we'll take the JSON from here. So we'll take a little bigger JSON and try to paste it here. And now you can see JSON is using 229 tokens, but Toon is using 106. It's almost half of the cost, almost 50% of the cost is being reduced, will be reduced when you're using the Toon format. So that's why like estimated cost saving, you can see here when you're using GPT-5, it is saving this much of cost for this JSON. And this is just a small data even, right? Like if you talk about GBs of TBs of data. So then you can imagine you are saving like thousands of dollars in terms of cost. So that's all for the today this video. So that's the tool in action, actually validating past, validated, past, converted, and measured. So all the we have taken all this GitHub shown that demonstration, like how exactly it actually helps. So this is why Toon is becoming the go-to format for LLMs. And when LLMs are part of the workflow, definitely the Toon is a clear winner rather than using the JSON. So please feel free to comment your opinion on this in the comment section, or any suggestions in the comment section. So that will really help to improvise over the time. Thanks for watching.